Hi, I'm Jack Baruzzini, and you're listening to The Secret to Stargate, where we talk about the hidden meanings and deeper layers found in the Stargate movies, TV series, and more. And joining me today are Lisa Jones. Hi, Lisa.
Hey, Jack.
And Victor Lambs. Hey, Victor.
Hi, Jack.
Today we are discussing the 11th and 12th episodes of Season 7, Evolutions Parts 1 and 2. Teal'c and Bra'tac are visiting a planet with massacred Jaffa everywhere. They find a dying Goa'uld who believes that he was betrayed by the system lord Ramius. They are attacked by a strange alien warrior who seems impervious to their weapons, but is finally killed by Teal'c with a Zat. They bring the body back to the SGC, and Sam and Jacob do an autopsy. They discover that he is a genetic creation brought to life by a Goa'uld symbiote. They also find that the warrior died because of a heart attack and not because of the Zat. They also discover that it was created by sarcophagus technology, which is based on ancient technology. Selmak says that if they can find the original device, perhaps the Tok'ra can create a weapon against these new warriors. Dr. Daniel Jackson remembers some research his grandfather did about the Fountain of Youth, very conveniently, I might add. And they surmise Anubis created the warriors called the Kull by recreating the original ancient device using knowledge he obtained while he was ascended. Daniel travels with Dr. Bill Lee to Honduras, where, according to Ballard's research, Talchak's temple should lie. They find a guide and find the temple, and after some Indiana Jonesing, find the device. This all goes south when they are captured by a guerrilla group and held for ransom. The guerrillas torture Daniel and Lee and activate the device after Lee cracks. The device causes them to feel incredibly powerful, but also go insane, killing each other. Meanwhile, Jack travels to Honduras to rescue Daniel and Lee, where he meets with Burke, an operative from Jack's special ops days. On Tartarus, Jacob infiltrates Anubis' base with Teal'c and Carter, and discovers an army of Kull and Goa'uld and a Gold Queen breeding program. Back on Earth, Daniel and Lee escape the rebel camp as Jack and Burke take down the remaining rebels. Jacob, Sam, and Teal'c detonate the explosives, damaging Anubis' base, and Jack rescues Daniel and Lee from the guerrillas. A lot going on in this episode. What are your thoughts on this episode, Lisa?
Gosh, it was okay. You know, it's not one of my favorites. I don't hate it. I guess I kind of wish it had been two separate episodes. If you had all of the running around in South America or Central America as one, and then the going to fight the supersoldiers as the second, and getting all of that, you know, where you have Bra'tac and Teal'c. And I guess they all wouldn't have had as much to do, but I don't know. Something about it just didn't work for me, and I guess that's what we're going to discuss, is figure out why I have trouble with these episodes. But, you know, yeah.
Lots of running around.
Lots of running around. And, and pointless, like, old Jack friends, enemies that are friends. Like, was Mayborn not available? Like, what were we doing?
Yeah, I had to go back and check on the wiki to make sure we hadn't seen him before, because they bring him up like we should know who he is. And
yeah,
he's like, this feels like a role created for Mayborn, and then he wasn't there.
Exactly, which I couldn't find online if that happened, but that's exactly what I thought about too.
Yeah. What about you, Victor?
We'll do a little Stargate therapy here and find out what's keeping Lisa from liking this episode. No, I like this episode. It's this pair of episodes. I mean, it's what I watch Stargate for. You know, there's running around finding artifacts. There's good guest stars. There's funny guest stars. We get Bra'tac and Jacob Selmak, in the same episode, which I think we've only seen once before, and they stick around for both episodes. There's lots of really good Jacob humor, Bra'tac humor, and I really like Burke, Jack's old frenemy from his special ops days. And from the commentary, I mean, they wrote that as a new character. They didn't mention that Mayborn was who they had in mind, but it was just somebody who was supposed to have this history with Jack, and you found out something went wrong, and then over the course of the episode, you and Jack find out what that is, and he's played by Enrico Colantoni, so one of my favorite. I wouldn't even say character actor because he's so versatile. From Galaxy Quest, he was just finishing up Just Shoot Me when this was filmed, and right before he went into I think Veronica Mars, where he played the dad on Veronica Mars. So and then, more recently on Person of Interest and stuff. So he's one of my favorite actors when he appears, just because he's so much fun to watch, no matter what role he's in.
Yeah, I did really like his character, how he was zany, but also where you were not sure if he was entirely all there. He played that really well.
Yeah, been out in the sun off the too long, I think.
Yeah. I really liked this episode, or these 2 episodes. It kind of just feels like one episode because it basically is just chopped into 2 parts, but I thought it did a good balance of, you have like the main, there's not even like an A plot and a B plot, because I feel like both stories are given equal weight. And like you said, Lisa, I feel like you could have taken either one and made its own separate episode, but I think it works well having them interlaced together because they are interrelated. And I thought that the plot with Daniel and Lee was a nice contrast to the plot we get with Carter and Selmac and Jacob and Braytak, because you get like the space adventure action espionage thing, and then you get something that I feel like we haven't really seen in Stargate before. Like, I mean, you get it a little bit, but like going deep into the jungle and then everything goes wrong. Like, it was nice and refreshing.
It's like a MacGyver episode almost.
Yeah. I like that you called it like Indiana Jones. Like, I did think about that. That they're escaping through the tunnel, and there's water, and the tunnel's narrow, and it's like, oh no, it's booby trapped, or there's something going to happen.
And they even do the thing where they lift up the device and it triggers the thing. It's like, you got to get the bag of sand.
Yeah,
that's right.
And there's Tomb Raider puzzles that they have to solve, because they're, according to myth, all water flows towards the device, and so they're down in the tomb, and there's no doors, there's no buttons to push. But then Daniel figures out that if he pours the water on the floor, the water will run towards the device down through the cracks in the floor and stuff, and they're able to get it out that way. But we do get the return of Bill Dow, speaking of guest stars, as Dr. Lee, who we'll see a lot more of in future seasons in Atlantis and as well. And, what is he a doctor of? As Peter DeLuise mentioned on the commentary, he's a doctor of whatever we need him to be that week.
Nice.
Yeah, sometimes he's a doctor of ancient gate technology. Sometimes he's a doctor of, astrophysics. And it's basically whatever because I think the writers and the, producers and directors on the show just liked the actor so much. They just wanted to bring him back as often as they could.
Nice.
Did anyone else find it odd that they're like, we're going to send 2 people down to Honduras to look for old ruins and traipse through the woods and discover this a device, and we're going to send, I don't know, who should we send? Oh, Daniel Jackson and Dr. Lee.
Yeah.
Anyone else think that was a little weird?
Maybe if they sent like, a military type, it would attract attention. But they are
at least one. I'm just saying.
No, they're in good hands. So they have a guide that they find at the So all of the Honduras scenes were actually filmed in the same nature preserve in Vancouver that the show is filmed in. They just got very lucky in that it was sunny. The days that they were filming there, and they dress the setup, with the building. The cantina building is actually kind of like one of the buildings for, like, I guess they have a rifle ranger did on the preserve or something, and that's kind of like one of the main range buildings there. But we get Zach Santiago as Rogelio, the guide who works at the cantina and then offers to help them find temples. And so, he's a lot of fun. He doesn't stick around very long though, because he's quickly shot by the rebels and was supposed to be killed. But I think it was Robert C. Cooper who said, we're paying him anyways. In the next episode, they find his body lying there. He's like, we're paying him anyways. He's a good character. We might as well have him not be killed. And so that's how we get him not being dead in the next episode.
So when Jack comes down to Honduras afterwards and is talking to the waiter, I don't think I wasn't like looking at the screen as he was talking to him, and for a minute I thought like, wait, it's the same guy, because he has like the same kind of beard.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, it's the same guy. Is he in on it? Is he like leading people into the woods and faking getting shot so they can take him? But no, that wasn't that.
I think it might have been his brother with the truck, but You notice in the first canteen scene, as they're talking to Rogelio, you can see the main bad guy there, Raphael, in the background, surrounded by groupies and stuff, and then they do show him in the scene, kind of like looking evilly as Dr. Lee pulls out his wad of bills and starts paying.
Again,
yeah, yeah, it's
not the brightest move.
Yeah, although I do. There's a lot of humor in this episode too, where they're looking for the temple, and Daniel's yelling at them to look around, and in the background we see Dr. Lee suddenly just disappear straight down.
Yeah,
and say found it and stuff, and that was his.
And I think he
stunt.
said, "I found it," didn't he?
Yeah. And that was his stunt for until the water started filling up, and then he had to come out of the pool of water and stuff.
And we completely skipped over the initial kicking off for everything that's happening in the episode is with the new I think they're called the Kull Warriors.
Yeah, not to be confused with the Krull Warriors.
Yeah, this is not a young Liam Neeson.
So.
No, with a very impractical weapon,
the glaive.
So yeah, he just kind of comes out of nowhere, and I've got to say that the first thing I thought of when I saw it was Power Rangers. It's a very Power Ranger-y kind of outfit.
It looks like a motorcycle rider with a huge cod piece or something.
I wasn't going to mention that, but yeah.
Yeah, everybody mentions it, so it's okay.
Shades of David Bowie and Labyrinth.
Oh
no.
But with fewer hand magic. Although he does have a hand, like an arm weapon, which is kind of neat. And so he massacres all the Jaffa and Teal'c, and he beats up Braytek, and Braytek's like, oh no, we're doomed. And then Teal'c like blasts him, but that doesn't stop him. And then he's like, and dies suddenly of some sort of myocardial infraction or something.
Right.
Yeah. And Teal'c's like, oh, I did that.
Yeah.
I did. I'm so great. I know. Because you're thinking, wait, all of these Jaffa and Goa'uld went up against this super soldier, and Teal'c just magically kills him. Okay.
He knocked his health points down enough that he was able to get the boss weakness.
There you go.
We just drained his electrolytes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, so I did love it when they determined he really didn't die of Teal'c's weapon. That was nice touch.
Yeah.
Just a heart attack. Because he's a genetically engineered, basically, host body that's grafted into this armor suit, and they haven't really perfected it yet. And it's made with sarcophagus technology, and he's kind of a alpha version of this. But I do really like the makeup and like the effects they did. Like when they pull the mask off and it's like grafted into his body, and he's got like no mouth, and it's like this nasty translucent skin. Like that was some good body horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. This sound is like they pull off the mask and stuff. And that was Dan Payne, who's one of their stunt, people and he look, when he's lying on the slab, he has to lie completely motionless, can't breathe. And I was like, is that a mannequin? But that apparently was the stunt performer laying there while they were all talking, not breathing for like 90 seconds and then gasping for air through this horrible mask that only had like a very small like breathing hole, and then stopping again while they continued on with the scene. But yeah, it's very creepy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did a good job with that for sure.
Yeah. Later on, we see the living one, and it's got like these milky eyes that can't really see, and then it can kind of talk, but you can tell it's not really
designed for that.
Yeah. Like I liked how creepy it was. I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the armor on the outside, but the internals look really cool.
And I like that they gave us the live one where they interacted with him. That was a nice touch, because usually it's just, oh, look, it's a dead one. Let's figure it out, dissect it, whatever. But they went through the effort of, does it talk? Does it not? It has a home planet. The little, memory device thing that they stuck on its forehead, which...
Oh, more Tok'ratek.
Yeah, it's nice to see they still have some of those laying around, right? Just in case.
Yeah. We give you the thought visualizer. Visualize your memory, and that's usually where they start the clip show. It's like, oh, remember when?
You're like, what clip show are we getting now?
Yeah, the Kull clip show.
Yeah, and I did like that scene because I feel like if someone stuck that on my head to try to figure out my home planet, they wouldn't get any usable information.
Yeah.
He's got to have a good memory.
That is an interesting thought. Like, someone sticks that on you, wouldn't your first thing just be like horror or all the things that could go wrong or anxiety or, and instead it's like immediately, oh, you want to know this? Okay.
It would have been funny if we'd gotten like Kull Warrior's first birthday and his his Kull dad teaching him how to ride a bike, and then his first Kull girlfriend and his first kiss. And I mean, granted, he's only been alive for 3 weeks or something.
Would have been a short clip show.
Yeah.
Just the inside of a microwave spinning around and then beeping because he's ready.
Yeah. But capturing him was a bit of a hassle.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice to see because I feel like they kind of had to do this because the Goa'uld have become too easy to knock down, and so it's nice to see that Anubis is coming across as actually formidable, and he has these elite foot soldiers.
Yeah, it's not. You're right, because after all these seasons, and the Goa'uld aren't really a super threat anymore. So how do we make Anubis? How do we make the Goa'uld bad again? Or hard or difficult or a challenge. And so, so the arc of this, which is not over, is nice.
Yeah. They just create a bullet sponge enemy pretty much.
Yeah. And I like that their whole plan is because he's got these impenetrable shields that energy weapons can't affect. They plan on shooting him full of tranquilizing darts. And then when they actually execute the plan, it doesn't work. And he just decimates them, and then you have Jack and several other guys just like sitting there, and he just does the cool guy walk past them and doesn't even look at them. Just
after
to drive it home.
Being shot with, high caliber rifle rounds, blown up with, claymores and C4 explosives, and it doesn't even bother with Braytek, who's just like laying there watching him walk by, because his mission is to kill Ramus, right? So
yep.
But I like the way that they created them and they investigate where they came from and how they're built, but they tied it all in really well to the Stargate universe. I mean, at least for me, I didn't feel like, oh, that's not believable. Or they just, here's just one more thing they pulled out of thin air. So I like the way in the second episode, the way it's all tied together. That was nice.
Yeah, they built upon the lore because they use the sarcophagus, they use the Goa'uld. It's all technology that makes sense within the world. And I did like, because Daniel had that stint with being addicted to the sarcophagus, he's very hesitant to touch the device. You finally see it.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
And that segues into episode 2. Where they've found the homeworld that the Kulls live on. They know how to get there. There's a Stargate on it, conveniently enough. Daniel and Dr. Lee have been kidnapped by the Nicaraguan rebels, and Jack is going to go rescue them.
Yeah, and we get briefly we get the Goa'uld Toth, who's Anubis's
thought.
Yeah, they say Thoth, but I think it's actually pronounced Toth if you're going by the actual pronunciation. But he's almost like the Igor for Anubis, like his weird science assistant, and he doesn't stick around too long.
No, I like how Anubis doesn't kill him for his failure like immediately. He's like, find the problem, because Jacob manages to sneak in the armor. Although it's when we see him in the full armor, that's still the stunt performer, not Carmen or Genziano in the armor, just because it didn't fit him very well. But and so he walks in and he's not supposed to be there, but he plays along as the Kull warrior while he starts to get investigated and stuff.
Yeah, he gets to go in the little interrogation regeneration chair.
Yep.
Which I guess doesn't register that it's not even a Kull, so
It's still a Goa'uld, I guess. So
true.
That's true.
Yeah. And then I do like the scene back on Earth with Jack and General Hammond, where General Hammond's like, "Well, the president will give you one guy to help you. It's so and so Burke," and then Jack's like, "Really? There's no one else?" And General Hammond's like, "Is that a problem?" And he's like, "No, it's not a problem. That's my Texas accent." So,
do you want me to say it instead?
Yeah. And then it sounded more like Dr. Phil there.
He's from Texas too, though.
Yeah. Your biggest problem, Jack, is you. And then so we already know there's some sort of history there that they know each other, and then we get there and they have a scene together, and you could tell Burke's a little burned out. Something bad happened where he feels Jack sold him out in a friendly fire incident. Jack didn't see what happened. And we later learned that the person who was on this op with Jack and Burke was actually the one selling them out, and came at Burke. Burke didn't realize who it was or did, and shot him. But Burke, being the good man he is, kept his mouth shut so that his dead friends who he shot, wife would get the the pension and stuff. But it cost Burke everything, and so he's in this stuck in Honduras as the CIA's kind of operative there.
Yeah.
Really a good guy.
Yeah. And he gets like a cool gun.
Yes.
With a grenade launcher on it.
He's very sarcastic and zany. And
yeah, he gets like the Contra Operation Wolf 1980s Rambo gun.
Yeah.
Which, he gets to use that grenade launcher at the end too, which was kind of cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the guy from Evil Dead?
Yeah, I did appreciate that at the end. Yeah, because Raphael, despite torturing Jack and Dr. Lee with electrodes and a car battery of some Peter DeLuise did say, he's like, we left it up to your imagination where he's attaching those electrodes and stuff on the commentary track, but because it's Stargate. But they figure out how to turn on the device and turn it on, and they all start to get affected by evil sarcophagus energy, which makes you, crazy and irrational.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Frank Roman playing Raphael, I thought did a very good, funny job as kind of the Nicaraguan, drug lord or rebel type guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like totally would fit in any given MacGyver episode. I guess the actor himself is Jewish and Puerto Rican from New York. So, yeah. Yeah. And so he did a very good job, I think, too, especially as he starts to lose it a little bit and isn't just eating pineapple anymore.
And he kills one of his men, and then that guy comes back later because the device reanimates dead flesh. And they shoot him, and then he comes back for a third time, and that's when Burke blows him up with his grenade launcher.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Not the grenade launcher, just that it reanimates. So makes, you think about the super soldiers, they're hard to kill. So are humans when
it's
they
like a portable
have this device. Yeah.
Portable sarcophagus. Yeah.
I will say I was, going back to the Daniel Jackson being, we'll say tortured, right? We've seen on screen Teal'c being tortured. We've seen Jack being tortured. Remember the dripping acid sideways and right? And then Daniel Jackson, I'll say, gets tortured, but it's just referenced.
I think it's probably because they were torturing him with a way that people actually get tortured in real life. And I do think that this was kind of around the time that all that, like there was stuff like that came out about stuff in Iraq that was very similar to this.
Yeah.
So
time period.
Abu Ghraib.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. It's an earthly torture.
This is why I need the therapy couch here, because I'm like, why does Daniel get off light?
Yeah. It's kind of.
If you go back to when we watched Teal'c get tortured, I forgot the name of that episode. I'm sorry. Early. It really bothered me. I really, really hated that. And I hated watching him get, the whole stuck with the pain stick and, all this stuff. And then, the Abyss episode with Jack and Ball is really hard to watch again. And here it's like, he did, I'm sorry, but Daniel didn't really have it that rough. Just saying.
And I think probably what happens is the people who are like the TV censors if they see it and it's sci-fi torture, that doesn't register for them as something that's horrible. But if they see this guy's getting car batteries clicked to him, they're like, oh, that's a real thing that happens. That's really awful. We can't show that on TV.
Let's not give the kids any ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, they were on Sci-Fi now, not on Showtime. I don't think that would have made a difference, but they were also becoming more and more like a family,
family
show too. And it is like sci-fi torture and stuff. Whereas like, superhero, you can have people get zapped or maimed or killed with superpowers, but you can't have someone just pull out a gun and start shooting people.
Double standards. Yeah,
I know.
Not saying I really wanted to see Daniel Jackson tortured. I was equal treatment. That's all I'm going for.
We get to see him without sleeves.
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
This felt like we've said it a lot with season 7. Like season 7 is very much like, I'm the cool Dr. Jackson. Like I get to lead missions to hostile jungles and like do Indiana Jones things without sleeves. And yeah.
Well, when he did have his shirt off, that did get comments from both Peter DeLuise and Amanda Tapping on the commentary track.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
In a like
positive or
which way? Yeah.
Positive. They're very positive. Very positive as to the size of his arms.
Okay.
So instead of Daniel Jackson, he's Daniel Jackson now.
Jackson, yeah. Yeah, there was a comment about how Lexa Doig must be taking good care of him or something. I guess they were
they were together at this point.
Yeah.
Nice.
But
that's funny.
Yeah, and we get so like right at the end in that plot with Daniel and Lee, the other three the rebels along with Raphael, they corner Daniel, they're about to shoot him. Daniel turns around to grab a rock. He hears the guns go off, and then it's Jack coming in to save the day. And it was interesting because at that point, Daniel, I guess he was just dehydrated and delirious because he like doesn't even really recognize Jack at first and seems very out of it.
Yeah, he hadn't had anything to eat or drink in 3 days.
And he was tortured.
Yeah.
Yes.
In some unspecified way. Yeah, and and that my favorite of the rebels was the guy with the sunglasses and the bandana though, because he just looked like very Nintendo Entertainment System cool dude. Like you would just have him on the cover of your NES game with his sunglasses.
Play Contra.
Yeah, with his sunglasses and bandana.
I liked all the. They really went all out with the effects in this episode on the planet. I think it's Tartarus is the name of it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. We get a lot of cool set pieces. We get Anubis doing his evil Emperor Palpatine up on the platform with all his Kull doing like Hail Anubis. So I like that, and I like
cool
that
lights.
It's very space opera dramatic, which is fun.
Yeah, back to the Goa'ulds being over the top, right? About everything, which was nice.
And we get a call back to Jonas Quinn because it was his knowledge of Pangara and the Trutonin experiments they were doing on the Goa'uld Queen that led Anubis to have this idea of kind of like raising lobotomized Goa'uld who wouldn't think for themselves and would just be mindless drones. And so, which information he got when he used the little spiky ball on Jonas's brain and stuff. So that was a cool callback as well.
Yeah, we get to I like that they continue to bring Jonas up at least a few times this season, since we miss him.
And Anubis's whole reason for doing this is because, as we've been seeing, the Jafar are not as reliable as they once were.
Yeah, they're all defecting in droves, and
right. These are basically the Jaffa 2.0.
You notice how now when they run into other Jaffa, it's almost like, how could you still be loyal? Like, why haven't you defected? It's it's not the given that they aren't that they can't convince them to leave their master or their god, but now it's almost expected. Like, how are you still there? Everyone else is doing their own thing now.
Yeah, when they're on the planet trying to capture the Kull warrior, ultimately, they're imprisoned by Ramus's people. And Jack goes to work trying to talk to the guard and basically gives him the sales pitch. And In the end, it works when he realizes that his god is dead. He says, "Okay, I'll let you guys out."
Yeah.
Yep. Just a little bit of Nietzsche, and he was good to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there was one scene, and I feel like this will tie into the next week's episode with Grace, but when Sam is getting ready to go on the mission to the planet, and Jack is going on his mission, they have this little moment where they're like, "Go, you're be safe, good luck," and there was a connection there. So
There was. I like that. A moment. I like how you said
Yes.
that. Yeah. Those are those little moments season 7 gives us, before they do bad things to us.
they torture us like Daniel
They
Jackson.
torture us. It's like they amp up the little Sam Jack ship and then they rip our hearts out. So anyway.
Maybe they were testing the waters. Was this maybe they'd put that in there and then see how fan reaction was online and adjust accordingly?
I don't know. Well, from what Joseph Malazzi has told us, I don't know if they ever had the intention of ever getting the characters together.
That's true.
But they definitely knew there was this huge Sam Jack ship, movement online, which, I may or may not have been part of. I'm just saying. At that time in 2004, 2003. And so they knew it existed. And I think they liked to, I don't want to say tease it, but they really like to amp it up. And, because there were a lot of, I will say in 2003, 2004, during season 7, lots of spoilers. Like you knew things that were happening in episodes before the episode aired. If you were hanging out in forums, just,
Yeah.
Right, frequented. So you knew things were happening. And I think they did all that, kind of give us reasons to get excited.
Nice.
Yeah. So I do like that. I did like that moment. That was
Yeah,
good. And
that's
I
good.
liked at the end too, where they all come back together and let's go have lunch. That was nice.
Daniel's there on his crutches.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody
Because
got
he was tortured.
he was shot in the leg too. Yeah.
That's true.
That was the running joke on MacGyver too, is like every season you'd tally up like how many times MacGyver got shot, had his back broken, had his arms broken or legs broken. And I think over the course of the season, MacGyver gets shot like 9 or 10 times or something, and just is able to walk it off. Where in real life, even a bullet wound like that to a non artery part of your leg would be severely crippling. Especially if you're shot with an AK. AKs for days, as Burke says. I liked Burke. I wish that they brought him back, and they were talking about how they wanted to bring him back too, but he just, at that point, he was on, I think it would have cost too much money, but.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that if you think about it, O'Neill's not in a lot of the episodes very much.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, this was on his way out. So I guess that's what I didn't like about it. It's like, I know that we have such little time with him left that why did you bring in a whole new character when there's so many other really, really great guest stars and, people that you could have matched him up with to go do this?
Yeah. I mean, Mayborn's not on Earth anymore.
No.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that.
And I don't know how many times they can bring Kowalski back from the dead, but.
Hey, they have the resurrection box.
They do. They just it's
But
like half head, nearly headless Kowalski.
Yeah.
I'm nearly headless Kowalski. I'm
They
going to help you,
could
Jack.
have found somebody else at the SGC that we only see every once in a while.
Reynolds.
I
We
don't
get
know.
to see Reynolds in this
Yeah.
episode. It's good to see Reynolds and stuff. But yeah, they could have brought back the Colonel from Enemy Mine, who was played by Londo or whatever. Not Londo, but Windu or this guy from Galaxy, not Galaxy Quest, but Guardians of the Galaxy. I
was going to say Landrew, but that's the evil computer.
yeah. Oh, well, whatever. We know who we're talking about. The Colonel guy.
The blue guy from
Yeah.
Marvel.
Yeah, Windu or whatever.
Yeah,
One of the blue guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do y'all have any other thoughts on this episode?
No, I like it. It's action packed and it's got cool technology and shooty bits and stuff. So
Yeah. Have we changed your opinion, Lisa?
There's more to like than not like. I guess it's just, I think that I'd forgotten this was a two-parter. And so
it's still going.
Can we not have wrapped this up already? I don't know. There's just certain things. I didn't really love all the trekking through the jungle. I guess that part doesn't feel like Stargate, or maybe it's because Jack wasn't there for half of it. I don't know. I like team interaction. But
Yeah.
I didn't say any episode that has Braytak and Jacob. I love. And I guess I just missed, I don't know. There's something about Jack, especially interacting with them, that would have been more fun if he'd been on that mission rather than traipsing through the woods with some guy I don't care about. Not Daniel Jackson. I mean, the Burke.
Yeah.
Burke. I don't know. Burke was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can dig that station. I forgot to mention my favorite part of this episode, which is something that Robert C. Cooper apparently added in. But so how are you going to defeat this? They're escaping from, they've blown up the symbiote tank. They've discovered that Anubis has legions of these Kull warriors. One of them is chasing Braytak, Jacob, and Sam and Teal'c out to their bomber ship, and he gets into the cargo hold and he like knocks them all down. That's how Carter gets her arm broken. And like, how are they going to get rid of him? And Braytak just operates the ring transporter, and we get this great shot of the outside of the ship, and the rings come down as they're flying, and there's nothing underneath them, so the rings are just hovering there for a second, and then the rings like fly away, and the Kull warrior goes. It was like a Looney Tunes cartoon. I like that moment.
Yeah.
It's worth watching just to see like the Kull warrior go woo like a Looney Tunes cartoon off the screen.
Yeah.
It was kind of funny.
I like that. And so, do they have to get new rings, I guess, for that ship? Is it?
Yeah, I think that you only get the one set.
There's
You
not
get
a backup in
Yeah.
the.
You don't get like
They're
a
pretty
donut
big.
version,
Yeah, right.
Inflatable, like a
like
yeah.
a little donut. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, that I forgot that part. That was fun. It was a
No.
good creative way to kill the villain, other than just shooting him multiple times, which doesn't work.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Awesome. Do we have any alternate language titles for this episode?
Certainly not for part 2, because they would be, they didn't have as much freedom over how they named part 2 once they named part 1. But it was evolution in most languages. In French, though, we get La Fontaine de Jouvence, which is the Fountain of Youth, part 1 and 2. But everyone else, it's, Evoluzione or something.
So it sounds like the French were the only ones who wanted to put the emphasis on that plot rather than the Kull plot.
Yeah.
I dig it. Awesome. Before we go, we'd like to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create The Secret to Stargate, including Mark W., Philip F., Colin H., Eric T., and Robert D. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue The Secret to Stargate and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. And be sure to follow the show on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and you can find the video versions at youtube.com/StarQuestMedia. And to find previous episodes of Secrets of Stargate and to send us feedback, you can visit sqpn.com/Stargate, and you can email us at stargate@sqpn.com, and follow StarQuest on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia or on Twitter at SQPN. You can also check out the Discord at sqpn.com/Discord. And we'll be back next time, and we'll be discussing the next episode of SG-1.
Okay. Sure.
Until then, Lisa Jones, thank you for joining me and sharing The Secret to Stargate.
Thanks, Jack.
And Victor Lambs, thank you too.
Thanks, Jack. And I love American gum. Good guys.
That's right. Get some double bubble up in here.
Yeah.
And once again, I'm Jack Baruzzini. Thank you for listening to The Secret to Stargate on StarQuest.
Anyway, I'm sorry, but that just happens to be how I feel about it. What do you think?